Good afternoon! Hello po everyone! Kumusta? This is Micah again from Websites Advice and welcome to our ninth webinar on our website series about website creation. And we thank you all for choosing to be here with us this afternoon, especially those students who has been watching our webinar series and especially those of you who has been with us from the very beginning of this webinar series. Now tell us, are you a newcomer to our webinar or an old timer? Newcomer or old timer? We want to know. So comment down below your answers and don't forget to like, react, or share this video this afternoon. Let your friends know. Comment them below and let people know. You can also share this video so that more people will get notified that we are conducting this webinar this afternoon. And before anything else, just a reminder, please make sure that all of you have joined our Facebook group. To those of you who haven't joined yet, or to those of you who are new in our webinar, it is through the Facebook community group where we will distribute the e-certificates in order for us to facilitate faster and easier distribution of your e-certificates for this webinar and for the next webinars. Please make sure that you have joined our Facebook community group. And after a few days, it is there where we will be sending your e-certificates for this webinar and for the succeeding webinar. And of course, speaking of e-certificates, again, just to remind everybody, watch and stick with us until the end of the webinar in order for you to receive your e-certificates. At the end of our discussion, we will be flashing the activated link for the feedback form. Remember, it is only open for a couple of minutes, so make sure to watch out for the link after the webinar has ended. And make sure to fill out the feedback form immediately because it would be our sole basis for the issuance of the e-certificates. Now, for those of you who are new here in our webinar today, we are Websites Advice, and we are a startup company that provides comprehensive reviews about website making, aiming to help and guide you in making the right choices in your website making journey. We are now on our ninth installment, and today's topic is crucial to those of you who's thinking of selling online. Now, this pandemic widely opened the gate of online selling and shopping as well. And I bet majority of us here in our webinar today have had experiences of either buying or selling online. Today's webinar is all about e-commerce industry. We will help you understand what e-commerce is all about and if it is worth investing on online selling today. So, are you ready? Let's begin. By the way, how is everyone doing with the pandemic? I hope everybody is really able to cope, especially with the new normal that we are experiencing today. Now, speaking of this pandemic, the pandemic really put the world into a stop. I mean, schools have closed, businesses and offices, both private and public, have closed. The tourism industry have totally closed at some point, right? Almost everything was closed because of this pandemic. However, as they say, as one door closes, another one opens. And this is true in the case of the e-commerce industry. E-commerce is a trillion-dollar industry long before the COVID-19 pandemic. However, this pandemic pushed e-commerce into a higher pedestal. It's one of the fastest growing business in the world today. In fact, the richest man in the world for 3 years in a row now is in e-commerce. Jeff Bezos is the CEO of the largest e-commerce marketplace in the world, Amazon. Now, the e-commerce is a business everyone must not ignore, and we will tell you why. Today's webinar will cover discussions in understanding what it is, what e-commerce is, and why do people buy and sell online. Then let's find out, how does it work exactly? What are the risks? And finally, let's take a look how e-commerce can benefit us today, especially during this pandemic, and how it can benefit us in the long run. Okay, so first, what is e-commerce? Well, first things first, the spelling of the word e-commerce can be spelled in many ways. What you see in your screen right now are all the correct and accepted, so spell e-commerce the way you want. So what is e-commerce? Well, e-commerce stands for electronic commerce. It refers to transactions conducted via the internet, like when sellers sell online and consumers shop online, they are actually engaging in e-commerce. But e-commerce is not only limited to selling or buying online. It can also be other activities like online auctions, internet banking, payment gateways, and online ticketing, among others. Now, today's webinar, we will focus on online selling and buying, particularly in the aspect of online selling. Now, when you hear of online selling, the first thing that comes to mind probably is Lazada, Shopee, eBay, or the marketplace in Facebook, right? Well, these are all part of the online selling activity in e-commerce. These are what we call as marketplaces. These are single websites that has multiple stores selling all kinds of products. That's very true in Lazada and Shopee, even the Facebook marketplace. So there's a lot of sellers trying to sell their goods, their commodities, their products through this website. However, today's webinar will focus on understanding how e-commerce operates with the aim of empowering you, our audience, to engage in e-commerce, to create your very own e-commerce website. But first, let's talk a little about its history. Now, the history of e-commerce can be traced back to the 1960s with the development of the electronic data interchange and electronic funds transfer. Now, this gave an opportunity for users to exchange business information and do electronic transactions. Back then, this was made because it was supposed to replace email and fax, but it didn't succeed that much. So, in the 1990s, it is really where e-commerce really kicked off. Amazon and eBay opened the gates of online selling, and since then, it evolved into the e-commerce we now know today. Today, e-commerce gives the consumers the ability to purchase goods and services at the comfort of their home, and it also gives online sellers to widely advertise and reach and target customers for their products and services. So today, e-commerce refers to any business transaction done online. Okay, now in order for us to understand the concept of e-commerce, let's discover why people engage in it. Why do people these days buy products online? Now, there are many reasons as to why people buy online, but I guess these are the top 6 reasons. So, low prices, wider selection, compare products, saves time, offers convenience, and shoppers review. First, on low prices. Buying online offers more discounts, vouchers, and the most popular one today, cashback. Cashback is when a customer buys a product online and gets a small percentage or incentive back because of the purchase he or she made. Who doesn't want discounts and cashback, right? That's why many people nowadays buy online. Next, wider selection. Everything is one click away in online shopping. It saves the customer from traveling to different stores to look for the items that he or she needs. And e-commerce pretty much gave the customer more control and power over his or her purchases. Next, compare products. This is the beautiful thing in e-commerce. And because everything is just one click away, customers have more options to choose from. They can easily compare products from different stores, meaning it is most likely that they will be satisfied and happy with their purchases. And as they say, the happy or the satisfied the customer is, the more likely that the customer will buy again. Now, another reason perhaps is saves time. And of all the reasons, perhaps this one resonates to me the most. Some people can be very busy, and online buying accommodates their busy schedule. You can buy products online anytime and anywhere so long as you have access to it, right? While you're in the jeepney perhaps or on your 10-minute break at the office, you can definitely go shopping and buy the things that you need online hassle-free. Next, it offers convenience. Now, some people work for 8 hours a day or more, sometimes even 6 to 7 days a week, right? One main reason why people buy online is they have control. They have power when to buy. They don't need to adjust to the store's opening and closing time. Plus, people don't need to spend several minutes lining in queues to pay. And my favorite part is, people don't need to worry how big or how heavy their purchases are because they can have it delivered at home. Truly, online buying offers more convenience. And last but not the least, we have shoppers review. As they say, experience is the best teacher. And this is true in online buying. It shows social proof and gives buyers more information about a product. People are most likely to buy a product if they know that this product is tested by other consumers. And buying online products gives them the power to know the quality of the product that they are purchasing through the reviews and the ratings of the previous customers of the product that they have their eye on. Well, overall, more and more people nowadays prefer to buy online, not only because there's a pandemic, but because it gives power. It gives control and freedom in terms of choices, time, and convenience. So if you are on the selling business, these are the very reasons why online selling is good for you. Now, if these reasons have not convinced you yet, perhaps the answer to this question, why sell online, will help you understand the beauty of e-commerce. First, it's low cost. E-commerce has low financial cost. Unlike physical stores, an online business cuts back cost for rent, signages, designs, equipment, among others. It can also cut or lessen operational costs for your business. E-commerce gives opportunities for many aspiring entrepreneurs to start their own business even with a small capital. Now, next reason would be, believe it or not, online selling increases sales. Physical stores only operate a couple of hours a day, right? Perhaps 8 to 10 hours and so. So it is most likely that they cannot accommodate customers that has the same work hours as them. This is where online shops top physical stores. Since it's online, the shop operates 24/7, meaning sales are coming in even if the website owner is sleeping. And next, marketing made better. If you can't afford to advertise your products in television networks, then online advertising is the best for you. It's cheap and it can even be free so long as you know how to do it, right? And you can customize and personalize it. More and more people are joining the internet today. So rest assured your business advertisement online can reach many potential buyers. Next, it is also easy to retarget or remarket online. Retargeting campaigns remind your website visitors of your products and services after they leave your website without buying, while remarketing is a way to connect with people who previously interacted with your website. So, like in a nutshell, what happens in here is that when a certain customer, an online shopper, views your online advertisement and clicks on it, even if that buyer did not really make a purchase on your website, there's a high chance that, or not really a high chance. So the algorithm online will make that visitor view your online advertisement again and again. Now this bodes well for you as a seller because through recurring or through letting this visitor see your advertisement over and over again, they can be convinced to really make a purchase already in your website. Now, overall, this is a feature in the online selling industry that really boosts advertising in another level. Next, if you sell online, it helps you build your credibility. Now, Jeff Bezos once said, if you build a great experience, customers tell each other about that. Word of mouth is very powerful. This is true in e-commerce. E-commerce helps businesses build their credibility. When there are reviews and feedback given by your customers in your website, you can attract the market and generate more leads and, of course, more sales. And last, in terms of data management. Lastly, the e-commerce helps a lot with data management. It easily stores customers' information and it can even give you an analysis of how your business is doing. Is it generating leads? Are there many visitors? How many are those who almost check out? These are the types of statistics that are provided to you so that you can better improve your business and develop your relationship with your customers. Overall, online selling is great for both small and big enterprises. There is a reason why more and more people are joining the e-commerce industry because of these reasons. However, the world of online selling is not perfect. There are still risks, but just like any other business ventures, e-commerce also has risks, just like any other business ventures, right? Well, the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to the risks of online selling is it has tight competition. It also has fragile reputation. I mean, you have a fragile reputation if you're going to sell online. And it's a hard-earned credibility. I mean, your reputation, your credibility is really going to be, or it's going to take a long time, and it's really going to be, it really will require you a lot of effort for you to really establish a good credibility online. Okay, so first, tight competition. Now, when it comes to competition, there are numerous sellers online. Take, for example, if you have a Christmas tree and go to Shopee and type Christmas tree, there are many sellers who sells the same product as you do, right? Uniqueness is almost impossible. Therefore, online selling requires a lot of preparation and creativity, and it needs a very good marketing strategy if you really want your products to stand out among all your other competitors. Now, the next thing is in online selling, your reputation is very fragile. How? Well, bad reviews can hurt your business. As we said, people talk online, and reviews and ratings from customers greatly influence your future buyers. Therefore, you must really assure that you will provide a quality service and a quality product to your customers online. Aside from the bad reviews, counterfeit products can really affect your reputation online too. Even Amazon, the biggest marketplace online today, suffers from this problem. There are many people who do bad business online, and they can use your products to lure people to buy their counterfeit products. Therefore, if you are selling products online, and if you are selling products that are more mainstream, make sure to go the extra mile to assure that your customers that your product is legit. And one way of doing this is having your own website. Next, one risk in online selling is your credibility. Credibility is really hard earned when it comes to online selling. Building credibility online greatly depends on the quality of the products, but not only on the quality of the products you sell, but also on the service and the customer support that you offer to your customers. You are relying on the power of mouth to build your credibility online. Therefore, you must ensure that the people who will talk about your product online has nothing but good reviews and experiences to share with future buyers. So overall, there's no one business in the world that doesn't have any risks. You just need to weigh, are the risks worth it? Are they manageable and whatnot? There is a reason why e-commerce is rapidly growing. People recognize that the gains outweighs the risks if you venture on e-commerce. And if you're not convinced that e-commerce is worth it, it's time to dig deeper in the processes of online selling. If you want to enter the world of online selling, you need to understand how it works, right? First, we have what we call as fulfillment models. It basically answers the question, how will your customers receive the products that they ordered from your website? There are three models. There are three ways. First, we have the in-house order fulfillment, third-party fulfillment, and drop shipping. Now, the in-house order fulfillment is also called the self-fulfillment model. It happens when a seller fulfills the entire process by himself. This model is usually used by sellers who have small businesses and low order volumes. Now, what happens is sellers packages their own products. When customers visits their websites and places an order, they are the one who packages and sends the products through the customers via courier or a dropping area. One or local examples would be JRS, Express, LBC, and dropping area, especially for Facebook Marketplace. Now, after that, the customer receives the, the purchase. So self-fulfillment or in-house order fulfillment. The next model is what we call a third-party fulfillment. Now, sellers hires the service of a third party in charge of the packaging of bulk orders to shipping them one by one. This type of fulfillment model is ideal for those high-volume orders or bulk products. What happens is the seller hires a party to handle logistics. When we talk about logistics, it is how the product will reach the customer. Basically, when a customer purchases online on the seller's website, the seller just sends the product to the hired third party. Now, this third party manages the inventory of the product, the packaging, and the delivery. And local examples would include J&T Express, Ninja Van, and Intrego. So the seller doesn't have to worry anymore on the packaging and delivery. The third party, the one that he hired as the third party, is in charge of all of those things in order for the product to reach the customer. And the last type of fulfillment model is drop shipping. So drop shipping is becoming more popular nowadays. So technically in this model, sellers do not manufacture nor store their products, meaning their products is not with them. It's not in their physical store, or it's not on their houses. The products are with the manufacturer. The products are instead directly shipped by the manufacturer. When an individual places an order online, the order is either automatically or manually forwarded by the seller to the manufacturer. The manufacturer then ships the order directly to the customer. So the customer places an order online, the seller forwards the order, not the actual product, but the data that somebody has ordered these products from the seller. So the seller forwards this information, the manufacturer packages and ships the product to the customer. So this is how drop shipping works. So these are basically the three fulfillment models in online selling. This is something that you need to know, especially if you would really like to engage more or would like to offer more convenience to your customers. Now that you know how the customers receives the products, it's also time to understand how the sellers receive the payment. How do you receive your payment, right? Now, sellers receive payment through what we call as payment gateways. The next succeeding slides will show you the payment methods used by payment gateways to accept payment from the customers. Perhaps these are also the methods of payment you want to include in your e-commerce website later on. Now, let's try to define what payment gateways are. Payment gateways is a technology that enables e-commerce and physical stores to easily accept cash, credit cards, e-wallets, and other forms of payment. If you have ordered online via websites like Lazada, Shopee, or eBay, or even mobile apps like Foodpanda, then most likely you have seen these images. This one. Paying through cards, through GCash or PayMaya, or paying through cash on delivery system, these are all what we call as payment gateways. Now, online selling in the Philippines is rapidly increasing, especially in the time of pandemic. So here are the most popular payment methods in the Philippines. Now, unlike other countries, the most popular method or mode of payment in the country is cash on delivery. 80%, a whopping 80% of online buyers chooses to pay their purchases via cash on delivery here in the Philippines. Now with COD, customers pay online after receiving their order in acceptable conditions. As an online seller, this can be very risky for you, a risky way of receiving payment. However, it is a great way to start luring customers in your websites, especially if you haven't established your reputation yet. Because here in the Philippines, online buyers would usually prefer to buy products in stores or in websites that offer cash on delivery. Next, we have e-wallets. Now, in 2019, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas reported that there are more than 8.8 million Filipinos who has an active e-wallet. And because of the pandemic, e-wallet users are rapidly increasing. The most popular e-wallet among Filipinos would be like GCash, PayMaya, even PayPal. So Filipinos are hesitant to give their bank details. That is why they are charmed to use e-wallets instead. They say e-wallets may someday beat cash as the #1 mode of payment here in the Philippines. And as an online seller, it is wise to take advantage of this trend, meaning if you build an e-commerce website, make sure that there is an e-wallet option for payment methods for your customers. Now, the third popular mode of payment would be credit cards, through debit cards and credit cards. Although some Filipinos are hesitant to give bank details, they really are hesitant when they see like a website asking for your bank details. They are reluctant and they are hesitant to transact to that website. Now, but there are some who are willing to transact using their credit or debit cards. But here, you need to understand this. According to World Bank, there is one credit card owner in every Filipino. That's extremely low, meaning credit card users in the Philippines is extremely low. However, you should not be discouraged with these statistics. It is still wise to add credit card as payment option, especially if the product that you sell targets the middle class population. Overall, there are about 43 million debit and credit card users in the Philippines. That's about half of our population. So if you ask if it is a good payment option, yes it is. So it's also good to include it later on as one of your payment method for your e-commerce website. Now last but definitely not the least is paying through QR codes. QR codes stands for Quick Response Payment. Now, this is very popular in China today and other Asian countries. QR code payment requires the seller or the buyer to scan a QR code to receive the payment via scanner or via mobile phone. Now, in the Philippines, this is widely used as an alternative option to pay cash in the counter of a store, but it's slowly becoming a best option for Filipino online buyers. There are about 120,000 businesses here in the Philippines that uses QR codes already. As an online seller, this could be one of the greatest options since it is more secure than debit or credit cards and way faster. All you have to do is have a printed QR code from your payment gateway provider. The customer will just scan it and there you have it. Payment has been made. That's how easy and convenient QR codes are. So these are the payment methods that you can apply and that you can add to your e-commerce website later on. I recommend that at least you need to, widen or to give more options to your website. To your customers in your website so that more people are more likely to transact with you because they have many options on how to pay. Especially so that here in the Philippines, the way or the mode of payment already varies, especially online. So now let's have a more detailed discussion as to how the process of payment works using these methods that we have discussed. Understand that the process is greatly dependent on the mode of payment. For transactions using e-wallets, cards, and QR codes, this is how it usually works. It begins with a customer visiting a website and places an order. Then the customer chooses a method of payment. This could either be e-wallets, cards, debit or credit, and then QR codes. Now, this data is transferred in the payment gateway. The payment gateway performs fraud checks and encryption. The encryption is for security purposes. Now, what happens next is the payment gateway transfers data to the seller's bank, meaning it's notifying the bank that, hey, there's a potential customer trying to purchase online. And what happens is the seller's bank performs checking if this is legit, if this is fraud or whatnot. So after checking if it is okay, the seller's bank transfers the data to the payment processor. Now, the payment processor is the one that sends data to the customer's bank and asks for authorization. So, it sends the data to the bank, and the bank now performs checking, additional checking again. Checking in terms of if it has additional, if the bank account has sufficient funds, and other security checks. And what the customer's bank do is that it sends an approval or it sends a decline to the payment processor depending on what information has been checked. Now, if it is okay, what happens next is that the payment processor then sends the data to the payment gateway. If it is okay, it signals the payment gateway that yes, it is okay. Payment can be made. And then what the payment gateway does is the payment gateway sends data then to the customers, signaling that, okay, make a payment. So it signals the bankers or the customer's bank needs to make a payment. And then the customer's bank transfers payment to the seller's bank. Now, this is how how payment gateways work. Now, what about COD? What if the transaction is COD, cash on delivery? This is the process. Again, it starts with the customer visiting a website and placing an order. And of course, the customer chooses a payment of method. And if the customer chooses COD, the payment gateway receives this information, but instead of signaling the bank of the seller, it signals or it sends data to the third party courier like JT Express and Trego. This is what we are talking about in here. So it signals the third party courier that an order has been made. So what the courier does is that after getting the product from the seller, it now delivers the product to the customer and collects the payment. What the third party does with the collected payment is that it deposits the payment into the seller's bank account. So this is how COD usually works with a third party courier. So these are basically how payment gateways work. Now, you might think that it can be a tedious task, right? Looking at the models, looking at the process, it can be really a tedious task. But this actually happens within seconds. That's the beauty of technology. These are how the receipt of payment works in online selling. And these are all options that you can use in your e-commerce website. Now, at this point of the webinar, let's focus on why e-commerce is a good business to venture on, especially in the state of the world today. How is e-commerce in the new normal? This pandemic put the world into a stop, right? Many aspects of our lives have changed over the months. Many opportunities have closed. Many businesses experienced declined in terms of growth and sales, except for the e-commerce industry. Amidst the pandemic, the e-commerce industry is booming. It's a $1 trillion business reaching about $4 trillion this year. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the e-commerce industry is steadily growing, and it's estimated to do so in the coming years. And with COVID, it is expected to skyrocket. So being part of this industry is a major thing. According to Statistica, e-commerce sales by country shows that Asia is the leader in e-commerce sales today, followed by US, Western Europe. In the Philippines alone, e-commerce have just started to rise. This year, this year there are about 46 million online shoppers, and the pandemic increased these numbers. It is projected that in the coming years to come, more and more Filipinos will lean toward online selling. Now, this bodes well to you as an online seller. It means your potential customers will rapidly increase in the coming years. According to an article published by FedEx Business Insights 2020, in the Philippines, a lot of micro to small medium enterprises are already realizing the benefits of going digital. These statistics when it comes to sales online via e-commerce website is high, as well as those businesses that uses mobile e-commerce. So we have 96% revenue generated from e-commerce and 89% generated from mobile e-commerce. But not only that, enterprises today also uses modern technology and systems in supplying products and delivering them. So it's slowly, e-commerce is slowly influencing how businesses, even not only large enterprises, but also small to micro businesses in the Philippines operate, not only in terms of selling and buying, but also the operation of the businesses. So it's really starting to grow here in the Philippines. What these statistics only mean is that Philippines is embracing the e-commerce industry. And whether you're small, medium, or giant enterprises, as I said, Philippines is really starting to embrace the e-commerce industry. According to DTI Secretary, uh, it is projected that 500,000 businesses in the country will engage to e-commerce by 2022. Now you might be thinking, is my line of business suitable and will it be accepted in the online market if there are a lot of competitors to compete in, right? Well, in a report published in Manila Times, as consumers pivot toward online shopping, more merchants strengthen their online presence. For instance, Shopback reported that from 370 partner stores in 2019, 510 are currently on board. Categories include food and groceries, health and wellness, digital goods, electronics, home essentials, fashion, travel, banks, and real estate. So technically, whatever line of business you have, e-commerce is suitable for you. And more physical stores today are leaning towards online selling already. So even if you have your own physical store and you're thinking of going online, it is very much possible. Many business establishments do it now. Many physical stores in the Philippines today already do this. And with the advent or with the booming industry of e-commerce, you might as well join in the trend because that would definitely excel or increase your sale. Now, you might still be a little hesitant to engage in e-commerce. So perhaps you are worried about its sustainability. Is it sustainable? Will it last? Is it just a trend that will slowly die out in a few years? Well, let me show you how this industry is projected to perform in the future. Statistics show that e-commerce will continue to grow and develop. According to Shopify, global e-commerce sales are expected to top $4.2 trillion in 2020 and reach more than $6.5 trillion by 2023. So the future really looks bright and the numbers will continue to go up in e-commerce. Now, more than 2.1 billion shoppers are expected to purchase goods and services online by 2023. 2021. So you don't have to worry about running out of customers, because basically, as physical stores and as entrepreneurs engage in online selling, it is basically because more and more consumers are getting online, are already switching to online buying as well. By 2040, around 95% of all the purchases are expected to be via e-commerce. So, if you are a businessman, this is an opportunity you would never want to miss, especially if you are here in the Philippines. E-commerce is just starting to flower. Be the entrepreneurs who will really shape our country's e-commerce industry. And to sum it all up, e-commerce is a great opportunity. It is a lasting change in the world that is here to stay. It is relatively new here in the Philippines, but it is going to be long lasting. And we have our neighboring countries in Asia, in US, to prove that it's really an industry that could boost up our economy. Next, e-commerce purchases are accelerating in a high speed. Do you want a high profit business? E-commerce is the business for you. Go e-commerce. More and more people are going online. Online platforms are starting to grow. As you have observed, there are many social media applications nowadays. There are many online platforms that caters to the different needs of online buyers and sellers to accommodate convenience, saves time, and a lot of beneficial things. So online platforms are really starting to grow. And last but not the least, e-commerce, the future is digital. So everything is slowly becoming digitized. The world is moving towards a digital world already, because e-commerce is the future. E-commerce really is the future of our economy. It could really be the future of our economy. And of course, e-commerce, especially with the COVID, e-commerce has become the new normal. So if you're asking yourself if e-commerce is a good business to venture on, well, the answer to that is yes. It's definitely a yes. It's a good business to venture on. This ends our discussion about e-commerce. I'm sure you already have a lot of questions in mind. I highly encourage you to really ask those questions. So to answer those questions, we have Ken on the line to give you expert answers about our discussion today or anything about website making. As I patch him through, please comment down below your questions and make sure to stick with us until the end of the question and answer portion of the webinar. And of course, do not forget to fill out the feedback form. The link is now activated, and in a few moments, we will show you the link. Please manually type the URL to your web browser for you to access the feedback form, okay? Again, thank you very much for attending our webinar today, and please do stand by as I patch Ken through. Comment down your questions and wait for Ken. Thank you!